Performed at the AFL Grand Final last weekend. He's got his latest single out with My Baby, which is released now, from his soon-to-be-released album, Beautiful Life. Welcome back to the program, Guy Sebastian. Look at those shoots!
Very white.
You could have someone's eye out with those. They're fantastic.
Oh, thank you.
Good job. And you got the bling and everything going on.
Exactly, mate. It's all happening.
So are you at that point now where you have people who help dress you and style you and all that kind of stuff?
My styling today, well, I got off the plane and I thought, oh, my goodness, I haven't got a suit for Rove. So I rang up Calibre and they were doing stock take. So I was so lucky to actually be able to get in and get a suit because every other shop was closed.
Oh, and you got a free plug-in too. Good for you. And how are things going for you? I mean, we talked to you earlier in the year, of course, but it must have been a very exciting 12 months. I mean, you forget sometimes with Idol on now, you're almost come full circle now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's been incredible. I mean, I've been overseas for a large portion of this year. After my last release, I headed over to LA and made the second album, which has been really exciting. I've worked with some amazing people, some of my idols, people I've listened to my whole life, and yeah, I finished the album last week, and I did the grand final the other day. And
yeah, how was that? That must have been a little bit intimidating because last time you were there with all the other finalists.
Yeah.
And this time just by yourself. So how was it for you?
Yeah, it was unreal. I mean, I think the moment for me was when the two teams lined up either side of me and having 78,000 people in front of you singing. I really didn't want to forget the words. So that's all I was thinking. No, it was unreal. It really was a great moment.
Do you get nervous in an instance like that? I mean, you've performed at the Opera House, you performed for World Idol. Do you still get nervous when you get to do a gig like that?
I don't know if I was nervous. I think I was more just excited. Like I'm a huge footy fan, so I was stoked just to be at the final.
Now, being an Adelaide boy, I know you don't support Port Adelaide, but still being a South Australian, were you happy with the outcome?
Oh yeah, I was rooting for Port. I was definitely going for Port. I know a couple of the guys, so yeah, no, it was good to see a South Aussie team succeed.
There you go. Now, you mentioned, of course, the album. Now, your last album, of course, the famous, it only took a week to put it together. This time round, did you stress that you wanted more of a creative say in how it went?
Yeah, well, I mean, I remember a little conversation I had with Ed St John and Dicko, who came round to the house to tell me to chill out a little bit because I
These, of course, being people who work at the record label BMG,
like my boss said. And they came to the house when I was in the Idol competition because I was giving BMG a few troubles and being a little diva about the songs. I wanted.
Were you really?
Yeah, I mean, they were kind of worrying because it was getting really close to recording the album, and I was kind of saying, no, I don't want to do that song, or no, I want to write this, and I want to do this song. And so it was getting down to the crunch, and they said, look, mate, just bear with us. Get this album out, and we promise you that your next album will be like your baby, that you can do whatever you want with.
Well, that's very good of you too. I think that's also a little bit gutsy because someone like you come from a musical background. You're not, someone who just thought, oh, well, this Idol thing sounds fun, I'll give it a crack. You were a legitimate singer and musician beforehand. So it must have been a very hard thing for you to stand up to them when I'm sure they were just wanting someone who they could just slot in. We've got all the songs written, just come in and sing it, please.
Yeah, they said it was something they weren't used to, but I was glad. I wanted something that I could be proud of at the end of the day. I mean, a week is not really a long time to have to record your debut album, but at the end of it, I was still really proud of what I did, and it gave people an opportunity to get something straight after the show before Christmas as a gift, and so yeah, it worked out really well. But then I took them up on their little promise, and I've spent the last few months making what has been, I guess, my baby, which is, I've kind of taken from the start and written a lot of it and stuff like that.
So are you more proud of this album than the first because you've had more of a creative say in this one?
I think I just feel a lot more ownership on this one. Like I can say this is my album, this is my little baby that I've kind of, taken from humble beginnings, and it's just been an incredible journey. So
And how do you feel about all this controversy of the idols and whether or not you have been snubbed by the ARIA voters?
I don't think I've been snubbed, mate. I mean, the reality of it is, you know, I came from a TV talent-based, you know, TV show, and I guess people who are in the industry are going to, you know, I guess snub it a little bit, or also look at an album that was made in 6 days and not necessarily think it was worthy of a vote. But you know, I don't make my music for critics. I make it for people who enjoy it and people who buy my music. I think, like, I've been trying to come to terms with the term music critic. I don't think that it really exists, because it's like being a food critic. If you don't like to eat something else, you know. Whereas,
yeah,
you know, if everything was one genre, or everyone just listened to one person criticising music, it's
like so many things.
strange.
It is very subjective, I suppose. Have you found that? Well, how have you found that you have been received by the music industry? Are most people welcoming of you, or do you find sometimes you feel people are talking behind your back and sniggering and things?
No, I mean, I think I guess if I was someone who, I guess, was, you know, musically manufactured, or didn't kind of take on board musicality in my album, or wrote stuff, I think they might have a go at me. But, you know, because I feel like I've had, you know, I've had a huge part musically in my album, and definitely I'm very confident in my musical ability. So I don't know if I haven't really heard terrible things said about me. I mean, every now and then you hear something about you, but I tend to ignore it.
Now we all get it. Is it something you'd even thought about before Dicko brought it up?
No, not really. No, I didn't think about it at all. I mean, I'd been overseas making the album and stuff, and then I actually read it on a plane, and yeah, and I was a bit surprised by it. But yeah, I mean, it's just the way.
And do you
is,
think it odd that the man who's saying that, you know, I mean, you and Shannon have been involved you're both up for ARIAs and will both be performing on the night.
Yep.
But Dicko was saying, you know, do you think it odd that the man who was saying, well, people like Paulini and Cosima have been snubbed by the ARIA voting committee, when this is coming from the man who chose not to sign them to his label and instead signed Rob Mills and Courtney Act?
Yeah, I mean, I guess there might be a few little regrets as to you know, as to some comments made, but yeah, I guess he might regret saying a few things, but you know, I mean, for me personally, last year I went to the ARIAs. I mean, you saw me. I was like this the whole time. Oh my goodness, I'm at the ARIAs. I'm sitting next to John Farnham.
There's Rove, get out!
You know, like I was, you know, this wide-eyed little kid basically, and you know, this year I'm singing at the ARIAs, and I get to go again, which is exciting enough. So yeah.
And this time also, congratulations, because you're not attending as an idol contestant. You are now a legitimate performer up there on stage through your own merits, and I say congratulations to you, my friend.
Thank you.
And of course, the single Out With My Baby is out now from the album, which is also due soon. Please thank Guy Sebastian, everyone. Good to see you again, mate. Good to see you.